Hey, it is day 3 since we learned that Bramblewood stables are we're gonna have to move from our current location. And I still haven't washed my hair, but I don't care. Um, Today, I've given myself through the weekend to just process, and we have made immense strides towards imagining a future outcome. So much has happened in the past, 2.5 days. But today I'm just depressed. And Sarah Ferris reposted a piece that Kathleen Beckham had written last week. And if you go, to my Facebook, you'll see where I've reposted this. But she's talking about the pressure that farmers are under to sell land. And in our case, that we're on leased land, and that's not uncommon. It's not uncommon in farming for people to be working on leased land. I mean, it goes back throughout history. But it also is within this industry, it's the business itself that's sitting on the land, and operating in its own little structure. But just like, you drive down the street and you see restaurants or you see stores, most of those businesses are in leased property. Very few businesses do actually, in this day and age, own the land that they're sitting on. It's even more rare with horses and with any type of farming, because what we need to be able to operate the business is land. When most of us are starting out, we're not going to be able to afford 100 acres. We might have the beauty of having inherited land, and I've inherited a tiny amount, or my father has a tiny amount of land that's remaining. But like my family land used to be what is now Riverbend Equestrian Park, and it's owned by the county now, and they have a beautiful program going. But that doesn't, somebody had commented about how would somebody pour their life work into something they don't own. We own the business. We own Bramblewood as a corporation, and it is a corporation that thrives. In the horse industry, it's hard to thrive right now. Very few people who are doing horses for a living are making money doing horses for a living. But Bramblewood takes care of itself, and it's been doing that. I have been a professional horseman for about 30 years. I've been in this location for 20 years. There were other locations before that. We're going to find another location. But the problem with this land and the sudden news of it being sold is that this place has been continuously operating as a horse farm since the 1970s. This is 90 acres of untouched hardwoods. Very little of the land that we use here is actually used for the horse farm. We're just surrounded in this beautiful oasis that's in the middle of absolute industry. We're one of the last farms left near the city. And I'm not caring how long this video is. I might be rambling along. I have so many thoughts that I want to get out into the world. Number one, even though I'm just depressed as anything today, and I'm going to take time for that. I'm going to feel it as it comes up. I hate change. I need certainty. And I've said this before, but that's what makes me a great barn manager. I want to have answers, and there's no ready answers that are coming. We can't solve this today. And luckily we've got the time, we've got some months to be able to solve it. We could have just as easily been asked to leave in 30 days. We weren't, and I'm so incredibly thankful for that. But the greater problem is not just our farm. I know the work that I do with the horses is about allowing people to connect with nature, come back to themselves, to heal. And we are all needing healing right now. And I've seen the miraculous work that's occurred here as I've shifted my program from a more traditional competition-focused barn to the farm that it is today. So I know the magic that can happen, and I see it happen every single day here. It's a really hard job. We don't get holidays off. Horses get sick all the time. Horses die suddenly. They're super fragile. We're super lucky. We have a ton of older horses, but this is coming back to back to back with lots of mini tragedies that have kind of happened. On Tuesday, we lost a beloved school horse lady. She had been with us for 15 years. She'd been in other programs before that. She'd been at Riverbend. Miss Trisha had worked with her from the very beginning. She found her. So we've got this 30-year-old horse that just passed. Our clients are suffering, our kids are suffering, people who had connections with that horse is suffering. And on the heels of that, not even time to wrap our head around the fact that Lady isn't with us, we buried her in the graveyard field, and then we're told that we need to leave. And there are so many horses buried in that field. And one thing that happened, we had buried Lady. I got the news that we needed to find a new location for the farm. And I've never seen this happen in the entire time that I've been here at the farm. But I looked up the hill and over the graveyard field, hundreds of bats like just flew around in that one location for over an hour. And I've never seen that. I've seen a bat here, I've seen a bat there. I've never seen that happen. So the land is talking, and we have a thriving program that's going to find a home elsewhere. The nuts and bolts of doing that is going to take a while, and every single day I know that new miracles are going to occur. I know that new connections, as this word spreads, those connections are going to bring us answers. However, we can't do that right now, and we're still continuing our day-to-day as we are waiting for massive change to occur. And it's, for me, the hardest part of this is that it is indicative of a much larger problem that we're facing across the world, very much so in our pocket of upstate South Carolina, where farmers, like in the Kathleen Beckham post that I was referencing, you reach a point that you're so worn down and the bills are so much and it's impossible to make a living doing this, that you sell the land. You reach a point when you are maybe too old and there's no kids that are going to take over, when you don't have a choice but to answer that call. All of us, I think, if we have any sort of property, we're getting little postcards in the mail all the time from people wanting to buy your house. We pay cash. But farmers are getting inundated with that continuously if they have large tracts of land that are sitting there. And my number one goal through all of this is for us to save as much farmland as we can in this area. We can do our part for where we're at. And so I see this as a greater vision that's happening. And we're reaching out with people who are far smarter than me in this week coming. And we have so many brilliant ideas that are forming. And our amazing benefactor yesterday, we haven't even put out the call yet. People are asking, are we going to do a GoFundMe? Yes, absolutely. The more land that we can buy, the more land we can save. And again, I don't have kids. Anything I do is going to go under conservation easement for myself, anything that I'm purchasing directly from myself. But we also have some amazing people who are looking at buying land, building, letting us continue leasing. I'm cool with that too. There's so many ideas. We just don't know where we're going yet. And I thank you for being along on this ride with us. Again, go to my Facebook, click where I've shared that Kathleen Beckham piece, because she so beautifully puts the heartache that is involved in this. But I know that this is leading us to bigger and better things. And I know that we are going to be glad for it once it's over, but we just got to get there. And today I'm taking the time to feel my feelings and just be incredibly sad about it, because this land that we're on is incredibly special. It holds its stories. It has a collective memory that was here from well before we came. And I know that what I'm crying about is something that Indigenous peoples live every single day. And so I can cry about it from my point of privilege, but we've forgotten our connections with the land. We have forgotten how nature is important and how we can't thrive without it. And wherever we go, I'm going to be fueled by that mission. And I thank you for coming along. I thank you for listening to incredibly long videos. I'm not going to do 10 minutes every single day, but I just had a lot to say today. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.